Good evening, everyone. My name is Laura Kennard, and I'm the president of Newberry High School Student Government Association. Along with my vice president, Garen Martin, we will be the moderators for this evening. At the table with us is our student body senator, Caitlin Hartman, and she will be keeping track of the clock and of us. In the back of the chamber, we have two volunteers assisting us tonight, the president of FFA, Gavin Wood, and the deputy chief of our Criminal Justice Academy, Troy Gilliard. On behalf of our student government officers, the city of Newberry, and of course, the candidates seeking your vote, we thank you for attending tonight's debate. We'd like to begin this evening with a saying of the pledge. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We also would like to thank the candidates themselves for agreeing to participate. Tonight, we present to you the municipal elections debate.
With us this evening are the candidates seeking your vote to be your next Newberry City Commissioner, Mark Allen, Walt Boyer, and Monty Farnsworth. Each candidate submitted questions for his opponent, and we have been collecting questions from the public. We have organized the questions into three categories for tonight's debate. They are as follows: general, infrastructure, and vision for the future.
Here's the format that the candidates will follow for tonight's debate. Each candidate submitted questions to us via email. No one has seen these questions outside of our Student Government Association. The candidates have agreed to go in alphabetical order to begin tonight's debate. Following opening statements, in which each candidate will have 2 minutes, we will begin the first question to Mr. Mark Allen. He then will have 2 minutes to respond to that question. Then, we will move to the next question, which will go to Mr. Walt Boyer. The next question to Mr. Monty Farnsworth, and continue in that format until we have moved through each of our three categories tonight, and ending with closing statements in which each candidate will also have 2 minutes.
As a point of order, 1 minute of rebuttal time may also be granted to a candidate at the discretion of the moderator if a personal attack is omitted.
Audience members, if you would like to submit a question during the debate, simply raise your hand and either Troy or Gavin in the back of the room will give you an index card and a pen. Write your question down and then raise your hand and they will collect it. We will do our best to organize the questions into the appropriate categories mentioned earlier and get to as many as we can tonight.
Do the candidates have any questions?
All right, let's begin with our opening statements. Mr. Allen?
I want to first acknowledge the student leaders here today for hosting this discussion for our wonderful community and providing a platform for myself and the other candidates to express our ideas and thoughts on the matters that are important to all of us. Again, my name is Mark Allen. I'm very proud to say that I can stand here in a community that is growing and experiencing all the joys of what our town has to offer its residents. One of the central questions that I think we all are wanting to know or have answered at least is what kind of city do we truly want? And what kind of future we'll be able to build together. This is something that I think about often, not only for myself and my family, but for the children that go to our schools, the small businesses who support our local economy, and truly everyone here today who represents our community in a variety of ways. This is why I believe it's so important for us to maintain the core principles that guide us to the point such as family, togetherness, and support, while also keeping a strong eye on the future in order to build a thriving community that works well for everyone who is a part of our city. So please know that I'm here not just representing myself and my family, but I'm here representing you and the future members of our community who will one day call Newberry their home. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Boyer?
Good evening. I'm Walt Boyer. Let me start by saying that I love Newberry and our community. Many of you know me from Spacewalk, and I do not let you down when you need a bounce house or water slide for your child's birthday party, and I don't intend to let you down as commissioner. I try to give back to our community by donating what I can for our community and school events, something I plan to continue to do as commissioner. As a small business owner, I recognize we need to increase the economic growth in our city. Getting more businesses to come to Newberry will help offset the residential growth we're about to experience. We need jobs here for our youth, and I would ask our local business owners to act as mentors for our youth. I want to prevent our wonderful city from being that bedroom community to Gainesville. I'm a firm believer in personal property rights and believe property owners should be able to make non-structural improvements and repairs to their property without having to ask the city for permission. We already never truly own our property due to property taxes, and at present, we cannot even perform non-structural improvement or repairs without city permission or permit. I think we can do better. As commissioner, I'll engage the city manager and building departments regarding this topic. As a strong supporter of our first responders and veteran community, I'm grateful to be able to express that appreciation through my business as well. I've served our city in other ways too for nearly 10 years. I've served on the Planning and Zoning Board. I have served on the Historic Architectural Review Board with almost 2 years as chair on both of them. Got to read faster, don't I? I was also a member of our last Charter Review Committee. I'm a member of Newberry Main Street Organization. As an active member in our community, I'm proud of my efforts supporting the candidates, the commission, or policy to in some way help steer the direction our city is heading.
Sorry, Mr. Boyer. Commissioner Farnsworth.
Hello, my name is Monty Farnsworth. I'm the current commissioner for Group 3. First of all, I'd like to thank the students for actually coming together and putting this on. I know it was kind of a hassle at first, but we appreciate it. And it gives the citizens a chance to see our viewpoints. Also, thanks for the people that actually came in here and attended to see us debate, and all those people out in the World Wide Web. Thank you guys too. I'm a total Newberryan. I grew up here from when I was born all the way till now, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. I went to school here from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, and over the years I have seen a lot of changes, some good, some bad, and as we look forward, I hope to be part of the upcoming changes that are going to be made with the there's going to be more construction, there's going to be more homes, there's going to be more businesses coming into town, and the thing is we need to be able to control that. We don't need to have them just come in and do what they want to. They need to come here for the betterment of the citizens of Newberry, not just for their own personal gain, but for the betterment of the citizens of Newberry. And I will always, the first and foremost thing I always keep in mind is the citizens and what they need and what they want. And that's where I stand on my campaign. Thank you.
Thank you.
The first question is directed at all three candidates. Mr. Allen will go first. Most people in the community can agree that they want good schools, good roads, and low taxes. In what ways do you feel you can bring people together in the community instead of creating more divisiveness?
Thank you for that question. Well, I think one way we can bring the community together is with festivals. Even when we get the Newberry Parish here, I think we can utilize this downtown area with the new parking and everything, the new structure, after we revitalize the downtown area, and start having events like maybe a First Friday, something where the people come out, they can mingle together, get to know one another, keep that small town feel even as we grow. So I think that's one way we can kind of support Newberry, its economy, and allow the downtown area to be utilized for businesses as well as allow the citizens to be enjoyed.
Mr. Boyer, same question. Would like me to repeat it?
Please.
Most people in the community can agree that they want good schools, good roads, and low taxes. In what ways do you feel you can bring people together in the community instead of creating more divisiveness?
Well, one of the things a commissioner would need to do is engage those other government bodies to address the needs of our citizens. We're wanting schools, so we need to address the school board. We need to get them involved. We need to make sure that they know how important it is that our community is one of the fastest growing communities in the state of Florida. Our roads, we need to have relationships with the state. We need to make sure that the county is holding their end up to make sure that our roads are getting addressed. None of these issues in and of themselves should cause any kind of division. It's all about taking care of the community.
Commissioner Farnsworth, same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
I think I got it. Oh, I left my mic on. As far as the schools are concerned, we have been working with the schools to try to with the school board, and there have been some changes in the school board that hopefully will benefit the citizens of the United States, of the city of Newberry. One thing of interest is Mr. Allen, he sends his kids to Gainesville school, so it'd be kind of nice to have his kids here so that he can have a better understanding of what's going on in our schools. As far as taxes are concerned, the city has maintained a extremely low tax rate of 5.99%. We, as far as services, we are the best city as far as giving full services with the lowest taxes of any city in the county. In roads, we spent I think about $600,000 on roads last year. We continue to increase that. I think the county spent, I think total of their spent was like $4 million. So $600,000 for a small city compared to the county is quite I think we're doing better there, and we will continue to improve our roads. I did talk to Commissioner Ken Cornell the other day about 337 and how dangerous it is and how it needs to be on their priority list as far as getting it taken care of so that we can quit having our kids and people die on that road. It's way too dangerous. So thank you.
Thank you. The next question. Oh, yes.
Mr. Farnsworth, just want to let you know, my kids go to the Rock because I'm a Christian man and they have Christian values. But if you check my record, I support all three schools and everything they do. I support all the sports. I support the Christmas programs. So I'm very involved with the school system, even though my kids go to the Rock.
Thank you. The next questions are directed at specific candidates, but we are still within the general category. The first question will go to Mr. Boyer. As a public official, it is important to keep a positive image on social media. How would you describe the image you have created for yourself on social media?
I think I've toned a lot of things down over the years. At one time, I was adversarial, kind of.
Is your mic on?
Oh, I guess not. There was a time I may have been considered adversarial, but I've toned a lot down. I've learned how to address issues and engage other citizens respectfully in discourse and debate. So I've done some learning and growing. So I feel I currently have a very positive attitude. People don't look at me as negative online as they had once done before. So,
Thank you.
Commissioner Farnsworth, based on your extensive experience, what do you see as the qualities that your challengers possess that would make them great commissioners?
compared to me, I don't. uh, I mean, they seem to be both nice people. I'm not sure what their real political stand is. I've never seen Mr. Allen at a commission meeting. I've never seen, or Mr. Boyer comes to a few commission meetings, but for the most part, they've never attended any meetings. They've never given their input on items. We had a meeting the other day on the overlay district, which is a big thing coming up, and neither one of them showed up. So I don't know how they consider themselves to be involved in the city when they're not even participating in the city, and coming to the meetings and talking and giving their view of things. Mr. Warrior did come to one of the overlay district things, but that's pretty much it.
Thank you.
Just because I don't come to some of the meetings, Mr. Farnsworth, doesn't mean I'm not involved in the city. Sometimes I miss meetings, but I'm out there in the community with my sleeves rolled up, out there working and serving and volunteering in the community. So I'm working a lot out there, and I'm very involved in the community. So, and I'm very aware of a lot what's going on. So just because I'm not here on the meeting, I know what's going on. I got YouTube. I YouTube some of the meetings, so I'm very involved, and I watch what's going on here in the city.
I mean, if you're too busy to come to the meetings, then maybe you're too busy to be a commissioner.
I didn't say I was too busy. I just say I'm not present at the meeting. I'm not saying I'm not interested in what's going on. I'm saying I'm out here in the community working and volunteering, making the city better, giving my volunteering my time, supporting the schools, supporting local organizations. So I'm very involved, and I'm working in this community.
Okay.
You check my record.
Yeah, I will. And I got the voter list from the county, and it didn't even look like you even voted in the last city election last year. Did you not vote in the city election?
Mr. Farnsworth, we're gonna move on. Mr. Allen, it was asked what differentiates you from other candidates. For example, what can you add to the city commission that the other two candidates lack?
I've owned and operated my business here for over 20, or almost 20 years. And during that time, I've made many relationships here. I've managed employees. I've dealt with budgets. I've established myself as, I think, a positive person in the community. And I think I could bring to the city commissioner all those experiences, all those relationships that I have built over the past 18 years.
Commissioner Farnsworth, since you have been a commissioner for several years, what is your stance on the quality of our water, and how would you work to improve it?
As far as our water is concerned, it's the best in the state according to the contest we've entered, and they've always said that we have the best drinking water, best tasting water in the state. So I don't know how you want to improve it.
Thank you.
He didn't put your name in the thing, but thank you. Mr. Allen, you served on the Charter Review Board, but you missed most of those meetings. If elected, what would your level of involvement be with our city government?
I actually was considering being a city commissioner over 10 years ago. But I knew at that time, with my commitment to my business and my other responsibilities, that I wasn't able to be here as I should and be able to commit 100%. So that's why I waited so long to run for city commission. Now my businesses are established. I have employees that are in place, and I'm ready to serve the community.
Thank you.
Mr. Boyer, do you think Democrats are equal citizens, and do you think you could represent them equally?
I didn't hear that.
Mr. Boyer, do you think Democrats are equal citizens, and do you think you could represent them equally?
Oh, absolutely. You know, a citizen is a citizen. It doesn't matter what political party you represent, you know, or what letter you have at the end of your name. You know, I'm a registered Republican. big deal. There's a lot of Republicans I don't like. So, so yes, I could represent everybody equally.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Farnsworth, as a commissioner who was sitting on the DS when most of the current developments were approved, what was your position or concerns when those applicants were in front of you?
Of course, my main concern is the impact on the citizens. When you start bringing in all these businesses or all these housing, you have to worry about the infrastructure, worry about the sewer, worry about the water, worry about the electric, and being able to service all that. Whenever can't remember, but their subdivision just north of town here, they came in, they had their plat and everything, they presented it to the city commission, and it was approved, and then they came back and wanted to change things and make the houses smaller and closer together, and move the parking to a different area, move the commercial from the front of the the subdivision towards the back, and I voted against it. I was the only one that voted against it. I'm the only one that's willing to stand up to these developers and try to keep them in line, not to be mean or anything, but to you got to do it for the city of Newberry, no matter who they are.
Thank you.
Mr. Allen, the integrity of the City Commission is very important. Since your campaign was largely funded by one developer, when that developer brings anything before the commission, would you commit to recusing yourself?
The developer that supported me really it wasn't anything to do with anything that was biased or anything that was not right. It just was being supported by a developer. I'm sure others up here has been supported by Mr. Tripp. He was he's a Newberryan. He loves Newberry. He's a big supporter of Newberry. So I'm sure if you would ask him, he would have supported you as well. Was he supporting any of you guys? Oh, okay. Did you, Mr. Monty?
I have never received any money from Tripp Morfleet for anything.
Did you ask him?
Why would I ask a developer that I'm going to be voting on his projects? Why would I ask him for money? I mean, that doesn't.
But if you could have a resource like that in our community and you didn't tap into it, what that says about you?
You don't need to tap into somebody that you're going to be voting on their projects.
Cut you off there.
Next question. Mr. Boyer, you have run the commission before unsuccessfully. Why do you believe the residents have been reluctant to get behind you as a leader?
Because they chose a different candidate who they thought was better than. Because they chose a different candidate who they thought was better than me at the time. It doesn't devalue my worth or what I can bring to the commission, and hopefully this time maybe they'll see my worth over my other two, the other two people who are running.
Yes, sir.
Our last question in this category will be for all the candidates. Commissioner Farnsworth, you will have the first opportunity to answer the question. What are your feelings about single-member districts?
I see the good to it and I see the bad to it. The single-member districts making divided. The good thing is that it's actually going to go toward to the citizens, and people can vote on it and decide whether they want it or not. Now, if they pass it, the question is, how are they going to divide the districts up? Are we actually going to lose in that? And what if we get we have a candidate or a commissioner, county commissioner, that's assigned to just the city of Newberry, and I might have a problem with him or her, and I won't be able to reach out to the other county commissioners because they don't care what my thoughts and feelings are because they're representing their own district. But the main important thing is that it gets to the citizens of the county, and they can vote on it, and they can decide whether they want single-member districts or not.
Mr. Allen, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, repeat the question, please.
What are your feelings about single-member districts?
Single member districts, I'm not really familiar with that. Speak to the single member district at this time.
Sorry, guys.
Mr. Boyer, same question.
Well, I've been a proponent of single-member districts for over 10 years. I've led several campaigns to raise enough petitions to try to get single-member districts on the ballot, just so that the citizens of Alachua County have an opportunity to vote on it. I believe in accountable government, and I believe that those that represent you should be accountable. Currently, the county is split up into 5 districts, and the districts that are currently laid out, which were created by the county commission, were the districts we were going to use for our single-member districts. That way, there was nothing to complain about. Everything has been equally divided, and it's already been partitioned. So I think it's easier to hold an elected official accountable to 30,000 people than it is to hold an elected official accountable to, God, what do we have, 180,000 residents in the city of Alachua, or the county of Alachua. So it offers accountability, and it's easier for a smaller district to elect somebody that will represent them and their needs, versus the at-large voting that we have now, which means if District 1 wanted citizen A or candidate A to represent them, you currently have districts 2, 3, 4, and 5 that could vote against the candidate that the citizens in District 1 want, and that's not fair to those citizens with their particular specific needs. So I love single-member districts.
Thank you. So we actually have a question from the audience for you, Mr. Boyer.
Yay.
You are against permits and codes for homeowners. How do you think any changes that may be dangerous should be taken care of?
I didn't hear that first part.
Sorry. You are against permits and codes for homeowners. How do you think any changes that may be dangerous should be taken care of?
I didn't say I was against codes. I do fight for property rights, and I fight for home ownership and the right of a homeowner to make a non-structural improvement. If somebody has a 2,000-ton or a 2-ton air conditioning unit and it fails, goes bad, and now there's a 3-ton unit that's more efficient and it costs less or maybe the same as a 2-ton unit, why would a homeowner need to get permission from the city to get a permit to replace a faulty piece of equipment in their house? Or they want to remodel their kitchen. These are non-structural repairs or improvements. People should have the right as property owners to make these decisions. Now, if you're going to add something to your house, I fully support, getting a building permit and having it inspected. I've got no problem with that. If a homeowner contracts a contractor to, say, put in an air conditioning, and that air conditioning fails or causes a problem, then it's between the homeowner and the contractor, or the homeowner and their home insurance and the contractor. Why would that involve the city? I see no reason why the city would have to be involved in a repair or improvement.
Thank you.
Mr. Farnsworth, you also have a question from the audience. Is there a possibility that the City Commission would work to make code changes that might bring some development at a more controlled level?
We're actually in the process of doing that with our overlay districts. We have also in place some impact fees that we're working towards implementing. So we are not just sitting around letting them come in and do whatever they want to. There will be some changes in our development process, and like I said, we have our impact fees coming on board, and we also have the overlay district, which will help define the areas that can be developed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, candidates, it is time for us to move to the next category, which is infrastructure. The first question is directed at all of you. Commissioner Farnsworth will actually go first. We have nearly 4,400 residential units that have already been approved by the commission and more requests on the way. What level of growth do you think Newberry can handle within the next 10 years?
We can handle as much growth as we want. The thing is, we have to prepare for that growth. We can't just say, yeah, you can come in, but we have to get ready for the sewer, for the water, for the electric. We're currently working with other communities to develop a regional wastewater treatment project so that we can share the cost of the wastewater between like us and Archer and us and High Springs. We've are in the process of upgrading our wastewater treatment plant. We've purchased some land adjacent to the current one, so we'll be expanding our wastewater treatment plant for that. So we are continuously working towards preparing for the future. We know we'll embrace the past, or we believe in Newberry, we embrace the past and prepare for the future. And we've always done that pretty well as far as I'm concerned. You know, when I was here, it was like 800, when I was born, it was like 800 people in Newberry. So now there's well over 7,000. And we've been able to keep up with it. And if it comes to a point where we can't keep up with it, then we'll just have to, everything had to be put on hold.
Mr. Allen, would you like me to repeat the question? Yes, please. We have nearly 4,400 residential units that have already been approved by the commission, and more requests are on the way. What level of growth do you think Newberry can handle within the next 10 years?
Well, I think we can handle as much as our infrastructure can handle. We're already dealing with overcrowding in schools, we're looking at our roads, so I think we'll have to pair that with how much our infrastructure can hold. So we cannot grow our infrastructure. If we do that, that's going to be a mistake. So I think we should need to grow strategically and smart, but not more than our infrastructure will allow us to.
Yes, sir. Mr. Boyer, would you like me to repeat the question?
No. I got this one. I currently think that the 4,400 that we've already got approved, we're not going to be able to handle. Our schools are overpopulated. So until the first thing that can happen is the school issues get resolved, we won't be able to handle more than the already 4,400 that are already been approved previously. And we're going to have a heck of a time even trying to handle those. The infrastructure will come. That's something that I'm confident the city will take care of, as well as working with impact fees with the developers and the builders. But the hardest obstacle, or the largest obstacle we have, is our school system and making improvements and making capacity, which we currently don't have. So.
Yes, sir.
The next questions are directed at specific candidates. And Commissioner Farnsworth, the first question is for you. As a sitting commissioner with over 20 years serving, why do we currently find our city in such dire need of infrastructure improvements?
Well, actually, it's like 18 and a half, not 20 years, but hey, who's counting, right? I don't see that we are in dire straits as far as infrastructure is concerned. We are able to handle what we've got coming on without any problem. And like I said before, we're working towards the expansion of the wastewater. We got AMI coming on board, which will help control some of the people's costs as far as their water and their electric is concerned. We are, I don't see us in dire straits, so I think the city staff and the commission has done an excellent job of taking care of all the infrastructure that the city needs and preparing for the infrastructure that it's going to need in the future. But I also believe that the infrastructure should be paid by the builders, not by the citizens of Newberry. It should be being paid by the builders, and they're the ones that are causing the need for the infrastructure, so they are the ones that should be paying for it, not the citizens.
Mr. Allen, there's a lot of development going on in Newberry, causing a strain on our infrastructure and requiring upgrades to our sewer, water, and transportation. What do you plan on doing to alleviate the costs caused by the developments?
I think impact fees, it's one way that we could help with the cost of working on our infrastructure. So I think having some of the developers pay some of that cost and foot that bill will be a good idea to help us absorb some of that cost and see if we got other ways that the city kind of could have a way to create more revenue, to create more funds.
Thank you.
Mr. Boyer, you've always been an advocate for property rights and have stated that owners should be allowed to do with their property what they want to. While the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Board, an item came before the board where Gatorback was wanting to relocate their business. The citizens in that area were very much against it going there, but you were for it. How do you explain taking the side of the developers and usurping the rights of the property owners?
I was against that. I didn't vote for it. I didn't vote for it. I voted against allowing Gator back over there. So,
Interesting. It's one of the questions we received, sorry. All right. We received a tremendous amount of questions about infrastructure, so we'd like to ask 2 more for each candidate. Commissioner Farnsworth, you will answer the question first. Do you support the infrastructure tax the county is placing on the ballot? Do you support the infrastructure tax the county is placing on the ballot?
It's my understanding that the tax they're placing on the grounds is like half for infrastructure and half for wild spaces, whatever that is. I'm not necessarily in favor of more taxes, but the county has done a very poor job of using the tax money that they have. And I think that this is going to probably pass because they've combined it with the wild spaces, public places. And I was talking to Ken Cornell the other day about that same thing. The county really has no other plans to work towards paving the roads and upgrading the roads other than that tax in itself. So it remains to be seen exactly how it comes out as to what all the details are before I will support it or not support it. It's kind of early in the process still.
Thank you. Mr. Allen, the same question. Would you like me to repeat it? Do you support the infrastructure tax the county is placing on the ballot?
Yes, I found out through a conversation with one of the city administrators about that it's going to be possibly partial tax, partial wild spaces as well, and those funds can maybe be used for something else. So until we find out exactly where those funds are going to be going and what they're going to be doing with that money, I want to wait and see what we're going to do before I support something like that, more taxes.
Mr. Boyer, would you like me to repeat the question?
nope. That was my answer. Nope.
God, thank you.
The last question.
Should I elaborate?
If you'd like to.
The county has proven to be very very bad stewards of our tax dollars. Alachua County is also one of the highest tax counties in the state. So entrusting them with another revenue source where they have failed to do what they were supposed to do with the existing revenue source is foolish. So no, I do not support their tax. Even if it's a sales tax and it's spread out amongst everybody, I do not support giving them more funds.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The last question in this category is about Newberry's fire assessment fee. And Mr. Allen, you will go first. Do you agree with the fire assessment fee, or would you like to change it? If you want to keep it, why? And if you want to change it, please explain your reasons.
Well, things cost money, and I understand that, and I'm sure all the citizens understand that. So now you have to find ways to find monies to be able to support our fire department. So if the assessment fee was what needed, I think that's what we needed to do. But once I get in there and find out what's the numbers, what are we looking at, how much money we need, I'll see whether that needs to go up or maybe be adjusted.
Mr. Boyer?
Yes, I support that fee because we have a state-of-the-art facility just up the street. And I want to make sure that all of our residents have response times that are going to save their lives. So I do support that fire assessment fee. I don't want to have to rely on the city of Gainesville for anything. I want to know that our fire department is well funded.
Thank you. Commissioner Farnsworth, would you like me to repeat the question?
As far as the fire assessment fee, a fee is actually just another tax. They just rename it a different way. But I've never really been in favor of the fire assessment fee. It only accounts for a minimal amount of the revenue for the fire department. Majority of it comes out of our general fund to pay for the fire department. I find it to be kind of an unfair fee because it charges the individual that may have a $30,000 home the same cost as it charges an individual that may have a $500,000 home. They both pay the same thing, even though the person with the $500,000 home is much more able to pay that fee than the person with the $30,000 home. So I don't think it's really a fee or a tax that is fairly distributed. So I voted against it for like the majority of the time that I've been on the city commission.
Thank you.
That concludes our questions concerning infrastructure. Our last category is about each candidate's vision for the city of Newberry. And the first question is for all the candidates, and Mr. Allen will go first. What quality of life improvements would you like to bring to our community?
One thing I'd like to bring to the community of Newberry is, as we grow, continue to have that sense of the small town feel. As we get all these developers coming in, all these houses, the city's going to continue to grow and get larger and larger. But during that process, I don't want that small town feel to get lost. So I came up with a couple ideas that we may be able to do, and it's called Newberry Care. And Newberry Care is a platform we put on Facebook that will connect all the citizens together. For example, if you had a lady that down the street that had a garage door that was broken, someone could post it online, and we would have the appropriate platform, posted something online stating that she has a need, and someone would hopefully be able to go there and volunteer and take care of that for her. And Newberry Care CARE is the acronym. It stands for Community Always Remembers Everyone. And that's one of the things that I would bring to the community, innovative ideas to keep our character as a small town with the growth that's coming.
Yes, sir. Mr. Boyer, would you like me to repeat the question? What quality of life improvements would you like to bring to our community?
I'd like everybody to be able to enjoy the fruits of their labor. You know, we all agree that we all love the small town feel of what Newberry has been, and hopefully we can retain that. You know, we're not looking at, a commissioner shouldn't be looking at providing for, you know, the wants of just specific groups of people. You know, we need to, you know, there's only certain things that a government is supposed to be doing. And allowing or paving the way for people to be successful, to be happy, being able to have home ownership, you know, because that's most everybody's dream is to own property. And when you have a government that's laid out that promotes that, I think that is probably the best thing a government can do to provide for a quality of life.
Thank you. Commissioner Farnsworth, would you like me to repeat the question?
We continue to bring good things to the citizens of Newberry. We have the West Fest coming up soon. The churches routinely get together and have little festivals themselves, and it brings the community together for that. We have our sports program is really an excellent program for kids to participate in and adults too. So we are continuously working towards making the things in Newberry better for the citizens. But I do agree with Mr. Boyer. There's a point where we have to think about what we're doing is it for a certain group or for certain people or whatever. We need to consider taking care of the citizens and doing the government work, not necessarily trying to make everybody happy with the little programs.
Thank you. The following questions are directed at specific candidates. And the first question is to Mr. Boyer. Given your strong partisan statements in social media, do you feel that you would be a leader who can bring people together in the future?
Absolutely, because they're not partisan, they're constitutional.
Thank you.
Commissioner Farnsworth, what new ideas have you specifically implemented to move Newberry forward?
One thing about the commission is people think that a lot of times it's just an individual effort, but it's a effort of the city commission, the mayor, the city manager, and all the other departments that we have in our city. As far as moving forward is concerned, we are working towards getting more businesses here in Newberry. We're working on getting Publix to come in. I think that's in the process now. And the industrial plant, we've got a lumber people coming in, some seed and feed, and a pipe plant coming in. They'll create 150 jobs. Not sure how much Publix will produce as far as jobs. Probably close to 100, I would think, 50 to 100. Wawa gas station is thinking about coming into Newberry also, and then we have Sandy Point, which is just south of the city, and they're starting to build a program where they'll have like a semi-professional sports team, bowling alley, theater, hotels, and all these are creating jobs for our citizens, for the people that live here, and for the youth as they graduate from high school, they'll have a place to work. And being a part of that is really has made me proud to serve on the city commission and work towards those kind of things.
Thank you. Mr. Allen, the overlay district has been a huge topic of discussion recently. Explain how the overlay district will affect the citizens, businesses, and future growth of our community.
The overlay district is something that I really need to research more to find out what would be the best benefit for the city and how it would affect the city of Newberry. So at this time, I don't know exactly which way to go on the comments about the overlay district.
Thank you.
The last question in this category is for all the candidates. Mr. Boyer, you will go first. How will you work with the county commission to build bridges?
Well, the first thing to do when dealing with the county commission is making sure you're representing your citizens first. I'm stubborn, yes. I know how to stand up for our citizens, and it's about making sure that the county commission understands. I mean, people misconstrue writing as opposed to how things are when you're verbally saying them. Things come across differently when you're in text as opposed to when you're saying it. I word things fairly strongly. I'm very direct. And sometimes it comes across as, maybe it comes across as crass. I don't know. But I can't be any more direct in protecting the rights of our citizens when directing with any government body or interacting with any other government body. You know, it should always be about Newberry first.
Thank you. Commissioner Farnsworth, would you like me to repeat the question? How will you work with the county commission to build bridges?
Actually, we've worked fairly well with the county as far as building bridges. We got the new office facility out here. We got the Canterbury has been revamped, and they recently held the youth fair there, which was a huge success. We put like $1 million into that, and that came from the Wild Spaces public places thing. So the citizens paid for it, but not totally. A lot of you can't always say no to all taxes. I mean, the money we've gotten from that has really helped the buildings, things of that nature. The county has changed recently, and the new people are even more receptive to what the city wants.
Thank you. Mr. Allen, would you like me to repeat the question? How will you work with the county commission to build bridges?
Since I haven't had the privilege of working with the county commission yet, I would just reach out to them and try to establish a relationship and kind of move forward with them to try to work and see that I can take care of all the things that Newberry citizens need, and just work with them in any way I can to make sure the citizens are being taken care of.
Thank you. So we actually have a question from the audience, and it's for Mr. Farnsworth, and it's in like the general category. Can you share what you have done over the course of your tenure to support diversity in the community?
I have participated in the Martin Luther King events that we've had every year as recent. I continuously talk to people of diverse backgrounds to get to know their feelings and have their input into things that are going on in the city. So, like I said, I've been here for my entire life, and I remember back in the early days whenever people the black community were not able to get credit for anything, and we had a grocery store or a gas station, and we would give credit to the people that came from the black community so they could purchase the things that they needed until they got the money to pay it back. And back then, credit was, you didn't charge interest or anything on it. It was just they borrowed some money to buy some groceries, and when they got the money, they pay you back. And we did that for the white people also, but I had to knock on some white people's doors to get the money back, but the black people always paid, and it's always been, you know, they've always been part of my life. I lived right in the black community for the majority of my life, and the only kids I had to play with back then was the black kids, so we all got along pretty good, and I continue to get along very well with the black community.
Thank you. So this actually concludes tonight's debate. Again, thank you to our candidates, and thank you for all of you for attending. We urge you to take the next step and vote on April 12th at the Municipal Building between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. to demonstrate that democracy is alive and well in the city of Newberry. Good night, everyone. It's not in the... Sorry, guys.
We were missing something.
I thought we were too. I was like, I think we might miss someone.
Sorry, guys. My bad.
My bad. Thank you.
Teacher fail.
It was all Mayor Marlowe.
I'll go in alphabetical order. Mr. Allen, would you like to start first?
Thank you again to the leadership group for hosting this discussion, the City of Newberry for providing this platform, to all of you who took the time to come out tonight and hear what we had to say. I just want to say thank you for allowing us this opportunity. On April 12th, I ask that you come out and vote for Mark Allen. I'm a man of integrity. Anybody that knows my reputation knows that I always have fair dealing. I'm honest, I'm trustworthy, and I'm hardworking. So on April 12th, come out and vote for Mark Allen, the man that will commit to the city and take it to another level with the help of the other commissioners, the mayor, and the city staff.
Thank you. Mr. Boyer?
Thank you once again to you guys for putting this on for the debate. And thanks to everyone who came out and provided us the opportunity to educate. Let's do this over. Thank you guys for hosting the debate. And thanks to everyone who came out and provided us the opportunity to educate the community on our ideas for Newberry. We all have a deep love and appreciation for Newberry and something positive to offer the citizens of Newberry. I'm someone who is very vocal at times, but it's because I'm passionate and care about our town deeply. I'm passionate about protecting our rights against all levels of government, including our school board. I'm passionate about holding all elected officials accountable to their oath of office. I think government should get out of the way of our citizens. Government should focus on laying the groundwork for you to take your talents and be successful. In my opinion, government is here to provide safety, infrastructure, utilities, and in our case, recreational opportunities. This approach keeps government streamlined, efficient, and focused. This also keeps taxes low and creates an atmosphere in which small businesses will want to relocate to Newberry and thrive. I'm reading faster. We need a balance between commercial and residential growth. I don't want us to lose our identity to Gainesville. We surely do not want to be called Gainsbury. I'm someone who will actively work with our school board to alleviate our overcrowded schools, and we need to ensure Newberry is a priority for them. We are one of the fastest growing cities in Florida, and we need to encourage planning for the future today. I will actively try to work with the county commission to make our roads a priority, but stand up to them in cases where they try to push Newberry in a direction that we don't feel benefits our community, which they do multiple times. I have actively reached out to small manufacturers, trying to entice them to relocate in Newberry, such as Smith & Wesson and Easton Manufacturing, and I'll continue to do so. Because of my love for Newberry, I have freely given my time and treasure through my business, Spacewalk. At Newberry community events and festivals, it's how I give back to the town I fell in love with 11 years ago.
Mr. Boyer.
Through all of this, if
Mr.
you have
Boyer.
learned one thing, I'm passionate about Newberry. I am active and vocal when it comes to representing and safeguarding the rights and interests of our city, our
Mr.
friends,
Boyer.
our neighbors, and I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Mr. Farnsworth.
Yeah, I also too would like to thank everybody for participating, for coming out, and for watching this on YouTube. As we go forward, we have to, and one of the major concerns that I hear people talk about is, of course, is the development and the growth of Newberry. One of the things I want to touch on are the impact fees that the county charges like $7,000 per single homes for impact fees. Newberry will be charging us an unknown amount at this time. We're doing a study to find the exact amount. Whenever that fee comes to the commission, and we have to decide to charge it or not to charge it, and towards the developers. When you take money from a developer and then they come before you complaining that they're going to pay these extra fees, the developers don't just give money out for the fun of it. They are expecting something in return. And we as the city commission need to separate ourselves from that, and taking money from a developer is not something that should be done by any candidate or any commissioner. And I have never taken money from a developer or a business or anything. I've always funded my own campaigns. I haven't taken money from my family to fund my campaign. I want to be responsive to the citizens of Newberry, not to some developer that's coming in here wanting to do things his or her way. And it's up to us to keep the integrity on the city of Newberry, on the council, and a vote for me is a vote for that integrity.
Thank you.
Sir?
It was just the closing statement, sir. Sorry, guys. Now that actually closes the debate. Now that we got all of our closing statements. Thank you again for joining us.